Donkey Kong Country Returns is probably the most important Nintendo thing to happen this week. Correction, this is the most important Nintendo thing to happen this week.
Speaking of leaks, did you hear that someone got an early copy of this game 15 years ago?
You don't say.
This is a weird fucking game. Not necessarily the game itself, just the fact that this particular version of it exists. I'm sure most of you at this point have heard me bitch at least a little bit about the fact that we haven't gotten anything Donkey Kong since the Tropical Freeze port from 2018. And unfortunately, this is way more content than we usually get. But what exactly makes this version special? Well, along with being able to play on the TV, you can also play this game on the go. Oh yeah, it's also in HD. That's where the name came from. This game follows that weird trend of random HD Wii ports that's been going on for the last couple of years. Some have been amazing, while others not so much, but in the case of Country Returns HD, it seems to land a bit more in the middle. It's not a bad game on the Switch, but it's also nothing super special either. It's exactly what it says. It's Donkey Kong Country Returns in HD. There's probably a ton of things I can criticize this port for, but that's also because I've played this game like a gajillion times before. So yeah, I could complain about not having any real new content with this port, but that's also because I've played all that this game has had to offer before. And no, before anyone asks, I didn't buy this game out of any sort of obligation.
I just have a fucking problem.
But as someone who's only played this game on the 3DS, it is nice to finally be able to play this game on the big screen, and it gives me an excuse to stop torturing myself with Tropical Freeze's hard mode, because if I continue playing this way, I will kill myself. Now, as we've gotten closer to this game's release, and with it now being out, you're probably going to hear quite a few complaints about it. Just keep in mind that most of the people complaining about this game have also played it a bunch of times before. And sure, we can nitpick about its price, graphics, and lack of new content all day, but let's face it, this is still the most definitive way to play this game. And if you haven't played this game before, it's an absolute no-brainer. It's considered to be one of the best 2D platformers ever made, and believe it or not, despite your feelings on the quality of this port, it still is one of the best games ever made. If I'm to complain about anything though, it would be the amount of time that it took for us to finally get this game here on the Switch. Tropical Freeze came out in 2018, and despite how good both of these games are, a 7-year gap between two basic ports is absolutely ludicrous. I get that this was likely done to coincide with the new Donkey Kong expansion at Super Nintendo World, but is that really the only reason why this was made?
Turns out, probably.
And that's the thing that annoys me the most as a Donkey Kong fan. This was always going to be an easy port to do, and they just didn't do it for so long. But if wanting to market a new park expansion was the main goal, we could have gotten this and a new game in that same time frame if they wanted to. My only hope is that this is also being used to subtly promote an actual new game, because just doing this to promote a theme park ride is kinda crazy. I know that this game has gotten a lot of shit recently due to Nintendo choosing to incessantly promote it rather than reveal the Switch 2. But don't be fooled, this is a very good game that is definitely worth your time, and having played it for a little bit, it actually looks and plays very well on the Switch, which for a $60 Wii game, I would fucking hope so. It's literally the same exact game that was on the 3DS, now just on an HD home console, and although that may annoy some people, that's all you can really ask for out of a game like this.
I'm sure most of you watching this video have already made up your minds on whether or not you're actually going to buy this game or not. And trust me, I would hope that none of you are actually planning on buying or not buying this game solely because of me. But as this is the first Donkey Kong game that we have gotten in over 7 years at this point, I did feel kind of obligated to say this. I'm looking forward to doing this again for when the next game comes out, which, let's be honest, is probably going to be another decade from now.